Good morning, Kansas City. Welcome to another fun episode of what we're calling Life After KCPS. My name is Chris Odam, and I'm the lucky guy that gets to interview people who have gone to school in our district and had something to say about it afterwards. So a lot of the people we've had join us have kind of recommended other people. And this is one of those very people. I interviewed Cheyenne Melton not that long ago, and she brought up
Oh,
this not so young man anymore, Fritz Hutchinson. So he's with us today, and I knew him for a couple of years briefly when he was going to Paseo Academy and was a performer then, and somebody that just kind of got on stage with reckless abandon and never really looked back. So I think, judging by what you see in his background and all of the ephemerals there, he might still be involved with music some. So Fritz, will you tell us what's going on with you after you graduated? And what year did you graduate from Paseo Academy?
I graduated in 2010, same
Okay,
year as Cheyenne.
very cool.
Uh, Hi, Cheyenne. Um, and I have been reckless ever since. Yeah, I graduated and I did not go to college. I basically had a band and we went for it. And that bands come and go, as some people say, but the music has not stopped. So I've just been kind of focusing on that for the last decade. I've been in a big number of musical projects and played with a wide variety of people around town, and I've just been doing music in Kansas City ever since.
Wow. 10 years. That goes pretty fast, huh? Like,
It
seems like
does.
just a few days ago, or maybe lots of a few days ago, we were hanging out doing a show at Paseo called Coffee House.
Oh yeah,
And I
yeah.
remember you being part of that show and kind of even the middle parts. Like, what I remember the most is not even the presentation, but like in between, like intermission times and down times, the band and you and everyone else were just jamming,
Uh huh.
and
Doing.
so I think that was what you kind of brought to it. What was fun is that show kept expanding and growing and doing different things, but the collaboration that happened right in those moments, I could tell some people were going to continue on this path. So
Mhm.
how did you know, like, that you wanted to continue? What was telling you to keep going?
Well, I mean, the whole reason I ended up at Paseo in the first place was because it was a art and performance focused school. So I just, I can't quite explain how I knew that that's what I wanted to do. It just, I always cared about it more than anything else. When I started playing music, I was like 12 years old. And I think, prior to that, I was mostly interested in skateboarding, but I started playing drums, and then like everything made sense after that. So Paseo helped me stay focused on that path throughout school. It wasn't like, oh, I can finish school and then I can do what I want. It felt very much like I was able to focus on the art that I wanted to be focused on, and then be primed to just like live a lifestyle where that is my main focus, which turned out to be pretty beneficial.
I think that's a fantastic situation to be in, and I'm envious a little bit in the way that I know I love a lot of music and arts, and I play more in the sense as a hobby, but something I can't stop either. And something
Hmm.
that I just, if I don't do that for a while, I can tell things well up in me. I need, to have this outlet. I need to get creative. I need to kind of let some of the world come back out in some other way.
Absolutely.
Um, so yeah, I think, what does it feel like then to, this is the gig, right? Like, if I were going to go in my basement and play, it would be in addition to most of the other things that I do, which are not creative sometimes.
Uh
And
huh.
but what is it like to get to use your creative side? Is it both scary and awesome, or is it, it's got to be a mixture?
Well, it's more awesome than scary. I think it gets scary um, when you have to rely on it in terms of income. When the business and the art mix, uh, it gets a little stressful. Not, and I don't. I don't want to discourage anybody in any way. And the scary thing is also what makes it pay off and feel worth it in the end, because um, there's no payoff without struggle of some sort. And I don't know. I haven't been a full-time musician this whole time. Um, but I have gone through a couple of different periods, right now kind of being one of them, uh, where I have only been a musician. There was about a 3 year, 2 or 3 year stretch where it was basically all I was doing, and it was just pretty blissful, but scary because I don't know, because it almost was like too good to be true, but not very lucrative, to be honest. But living gig to gig has its own blessings and curses. It's complicated, but it is extremely worth the experience, and super fun. Amazing people, amazing places. Got to travel,
Yeah.
Um,
Sure. So different versions of value of what we value and what you're valuing, and as opposed to just financially, but lots of richness and people you're around and exposure to things and
right, a
places to visit. Yeah, that's
wealth of
fantastic.
experience.
That's fantastic. Well, let's focus for a minute on your art form. It's not often we get to hear an artist in our own living rooms, like we're going to here in just a second. Fritz is willing to play for us here in a second, but
Okay.
if you'll tell us before you do, like in a general way, what are you trying to do with your music? Like,
Well,
I
I'm
don't
trying.
mean professionally, I guess that too, but like what are you trying to do by being so involved in your music?
Well, for the last decade or so, I have mostly existed as a sideman and have been a drummer or a guitarist in a lot of different bands. And I recommend that to anybody that wants to be a musician, is commit yourself to other people's projects as well, because you learn so much, and join a variety of different styles of bands. I was in a country band. I was in I've been in a couple reggae bands, jazz groups, trying to play as many different kinds of music as possible, to learn all sorts of different grooves and different feelings, different emotions that can be accessible, and different group dynamics. Working with a lot of different types of people can help you figure out what kinds of people you want to be working with, or how to be assertive about your vision without being a jerk about it, or how to take direction. And there's a lot of value there. So that's mostly what I had been doing for several years, and at this point, I figured it out a little bit to the point where I thought, okay, I'm ready to be myself and to operate under my own name. And because what I really love is songwriting, as much as I love the drums and just playing, and the release and the relaxation that comes from that, I love to write songs more than anything else. And so I sort of gathered up the information that I've accumulated, and I put out my first record in March of last year. It's called Wide Wild Acres, and so I've put my first album out, working on the second one now, and I am now me, and that's the goal, is to be myself.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're lucky to have him with us here this morning. So, Kansas City, please enjoy for a moment here, Fritz Hutchinson.
Okay, this song is on that record. It's called Police Dogs. beneath the dogwood trees burning. The moment of relief's coming. At least I was at the scene barking. I hope you don't believe that I'm in love. No Apollo, the information's wrong. Rob my suitcase, all my best luck, yeah. I put my spacesuit on. Show me craters, cold and ancient. Show me something strong. That the lunar module's no longer vacant, just like that it's gone. Lord knows I can't hold my breath here long enough to travel by the power of my own will to the crescent. Instead I drew into my chest a deep, long breath, and I gave no reply. Beneath the dogwood trees budding. The moment of relief's coming. At least I was at the scene barking. I hope you don't believe that I'm in love. I hope you don't believe that I'm in love. Oh no, no, oh, no, no. I hope you don't believe that I'm in love. Something like that.
Fantastic, man. Like, what a
Thanks.
treat. I'm just sitting here like I am jamming in my little office cubicle. So
Oh, good.
I love it. And kind of the beauty of the idea of having you on this show is that one of these interview notions was kind of inspired by kind of Tiny Desk and Bob Boylan and watching his show. And then I brought it up with our district and I said, I could probably just get a hold of a lot of people, ask them about what they're doing. We could record it on Zoom. It would cost us $0. Do you think anybody'd watch it? And what I always loved watching the Tiny Desk was now we can say, we have the artist with us today by, some amazing fortune that we just heard a song by an amazing Fritz Hutchinson, ladies and gentlemen, and he's here. So now we have the great honor and chance to ask him if he'd want to just tell us a little bit about that song and like break it down. I don't want you to explain your work because that's not what artists do, but like, you're here with us. Would you be willing to share us a little bit about what you were going for in that?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, gosh, what was I thinking? That song was inspired a lot by the song "Blinded by the Light," which was written by Bruce Springsteen. I'm a huge Springsteen fan. Most people are more familiar with the Manfred Mann version, but anyway, "Blinded by the Light," that song. But the lyrics in that song, the vocal work is very busy. There's a lot of like kind of internal rhyme, madman, drummers, bummers, and Indians in the summer. Like every line is just jam packed with imagery, and it doesn't really make sense unless you really take some time and try to figure out what's going on. But that's not really the point. Like understanding it isn't the point so much as just like experiencing it. And it's just fun. It's a fun song. And so I wanted to write something like that where the words are just like a rock skipping across water. And I wanted to write something with a busy vocal, just to kind of take a word shower, and so that's kind of where that song came from.
Sure. Thank you. That's
yeah.
wonderful. And I don't mean by saying that musicians have to have something come out that's like this one thing. I think that's the greatest part about music is, if you're a poet, if you're a playwright, if you're sometimes these abstract emotions that are coming through have to have some other physical way to come through. But in music, it may be what's coming through, and it may actually translate and it may actually communicate without us making it tangible and explaining it to death. And so I think
Hmm.
it's a killer song, man. It made me, while you were singing it, wonder of your influences and kind of try to predict some and hear some.
Hmm.
um, so I think that's fantastic. So this is your solo project, and is it primarily you and guitar, or are there other versions of you on this project?
Well, on the recordings, I played nearly everything. I did not play the bass on on most of the tracks. Ian Teeple, an amazing local musician, played bass on most of the album. I had some help on some of the keyboard parts with Kyle Little, and there are horns on the record. I cannot play a horn to save my life, and so Ariana Nemati, Teddy Krulowicz, and Trevor Turla all contributed some really fabulous horn parts.
Fantastic.
Throughout the album. So, but other than that, I love to play drums and I love to play guitar, and I haven't figured out how to clone myself yet. So I have like I'm really lucky to have like a really awesome, amazing band that plays with me live. But the studio is the chance that I have to sort of imagine
Yeah,
a very specific sound and all the parts fitting together in a very specific way. And so I like to play as much as I can in the studio. But the other side of the coin, which is every bit as fun and exciting, is hearing what someone else brings to the table. And then every show we play is a little bit different, and the songs sound different live than on the recording. That's very exciting to me.
yeah,
Um, so, so
that's
yes
very
and no.
cool.
Live, it's usually me and a guitar, and
Gotcha.
then a coterie of wonderful musicians.
Very cool. Well, I'm gonna look for next place I can find you because I think I would enjoy coming out to see. So, Kansas City, we have a great show here for you. If you haven't been with us until just now, we're with Fritz Hutchinson, and we're gonna have to close this interview down and call it, another great episode of KCPS, Real World Learning on Fridays. And the goal of this show was definitely for students to see that there are things that happen after high school, some of which you might plan on, some of which might find your way into its existence.
Most of
Um,
it you won't plan on.
Most of it you won't plan on. And what we're experiencing is everybody I interview has just poured out with so much wealth of knowledge looking back. So, no challenge, Fritz, but pretend you're back there, 11th grader.
Ooh.
What did you need to hear? What could you tell a person who is kind of coming out into the world about what they are going to go off and accomplish?
Mm.
No challenge, because that's
Ooh.
certainly a lot to go out and battle in 2020 and in 2021. It's certainly starting off as a similar battle to maintain sanity, feel like you're supporting yourself and getting out of life what you want.
Mm-hmm.
So you seem to be doing that in some degree, and I'm super excited for that. What
Yeah.
what do you think makes that work?
Well,
Not to oversimplify life by any means.
life. I think what I would tell myself, and this almost goes against what I was saying earlier because I was recommending so much, and I still do, that you would join every other band you can, explore as many styles. I think that you absolutely should do that, but I also think that it is important, and uh, it, I think it's extremely important to kind of keep your eyes on the prize and think about what uh, is like, just stay true to like yourself and true to your heart, and the kind of music or the kind of art that you really want to put out in the world. And it's easy. uh, I can say it's easy because it happened to me. I got like pretty heavily distracted for a few years with playing other people's music, and that's not a bad thing. And some people are born to do that, and are at their most truest selves in the position of helping is helping another's composition come to life. Not everybody's a composer, and not everybody is a technician, and those two things, when they're married to each other, produce just incredible stuff. So figure out where you fit in, and don't lose sight of that. And playing music that isn't exactly what you want to make all the time is very, very important, because it helps you figure out what it is that you do want to make. But don't lose sight of what the kind of feeling that you want to create in a room with people, and go for that feeling, and try to incorporate the other lessons that you learn along the way into that.
Fantastic. All right, Kansas City, you heard that. That's the truth as Fritz knows it. And I agree. I would say I'm listening, just shaking my head, that many, many years ago, when I went into the field of education at 21 years old, I had a pretty strong hypothesis that I would still value that now that I'm 43, and very proud, I guess would be the word, to have been involved with a lot of young people in the city for a lot of years in a row, and to hear all of their stories. So it's so rewarding to do these. And I sneak a little bit for me in the back of my brain, so I can remember that this is valuable and important work, and then spread it to other people who keep this message of Kansas City. There are wonderful people who come from our schools, who live and breathe in our cities every day, and sometimes we don't hear of them. So if you know a person that would be a great person to point out to other fellow KCPS students across the district, please reach out to me. My name is Chris Odam, and I work for Kansas City Public Schools. And we will set up a time to do a similar interview. Fritz, it's been totally awesome. You're inspiring, man. Keep it going.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you.
You're going to make me go down in my basement and start a composition or something here.
Right on.
And I wonder, I tell you, I'm the opposite. I am the guy who practiced secretly for 23 years. I've played at Davies Uptown 4 times, and then it caught fire.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
So somebody was
sure
trying to
did.
stop me or something, but but I love it. I tell you, had I been doing that the last 20 years, I don't know, but I'm not done, man. So want to collaborate, write something together, please let me know. I'm huge,
Yeah.
huge fan of the creative process, when people get together that you might not expect, and they produce some amazing stuff. So you're doing great things. I love your music. I'm not just saying that.
Thank you.
I wouldn't just say that because I love musicians and I love the art form, but I really do think you found something in there that's yours, that's really got cool patterning and really good timing, and really strong lyrical presence. So keep it going, man. That is so awesome. I want to come see you at Red Rocks or something.
Okay.
All right.
I'll book it.
Okay, deal. So
Thank you so much.
It's been wonderful talking with Fritz, and you guys out there in Kansas City, have a wonderful day.